Hello again, guys, and welcome to another episode of OTR Vantage Point. I am your host, Mark Kelley. Wherever you are, thank you for making us part of your day. Do us a huge favor and make sure you swing by KelleyDefense.com and warhog.com. You can catch all the past episodes, video and audio, right there on the pages. You can also check out our training calendars. Make sure on warhog.com you check out the In Honor of Duco project. There's a whole page dedicated to telling you about Duco and the project that Rick has started up, along with Scott's Wish, the new canine products are launching, the In Honor of Duco leash. It's out. I got mine. Make sure you go check that out. While you're there, you can click on OTR Training on Demand. It's a great program. A lot of good, solid, no BS training that you can stream and download. It's ready to go. Make sure you check those out. And just want to remind you that the support for the OTR universe, and including this episode, is coming from Manscaped. Make sure you go to manscaped.com, use the promo code. There's no reason not to try it. OTR20. Save yourself 20% and get free worldwide shipping. We'll talk about them in a little bit later. But your boys have been busy. A lot of content coming out. A lot of Vantage Points. Got some more Hogg Words of Wisdom coming. We had a guest on the wildly popular On the Range podcast with Warhog Tactical and Kelley Defense. Make sure you go check that out. You know, when you're listening to the audio shows, by the way, you can catch those anywhere that audio podcasts are consumed. Plus, you can go to Amazon Audible, Amazon Music. You can also hit the video stuff, like this show here if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook. We're also on Vimeo, Fire TV, and we're also on Roku TV. It's really expanding, and we can't thank you enough for supporting the show. I wanted to make a quick video here just to push out something that I caught in social media that was trending. A couple of things. One, very funny. We'll talk about that later. But the first one was there was an exchange on some hearings between Senator Hawley and a Berkeley law professor, Cal Berkeley law professor named Kira Bridges, I believe is her name. Very interesting, and I want to elaborate on it a little bit, but she was pretty pompous, refused to answer a lot of stuff, and she was this exchange was trending on Twitter, and the big theme was how she was acting. A lot of people thought it was good, a lot of people thought it was bad, but it was like 30-some thousand thought it was good on this one video I was watching, this one post. But to most people, it was painfully obvious that these folks are trying to put you in fantasy land. I don't think they're believing anything that they're saying. One of the exchanges was Miss Bridges had mentioned the term those who are capable of childbirth. So the senator says, "You mean a woman?" And then she asks him, "Do you believe that a transgender woman can have a baby?" He says no. Then she calls him transphobic, and they had this big exchange, and people were saying how she schooled this guy and put down hate. Listen, every time he asked a question, she refused to answer. And she refused in a way that she wasn't just circumventing it or using some fancy college talk. Remember, this is a law professor. This isn't a biologist. This isn't a doctor, medical doctor. She would flat out say, "I'm answering a more interesting question." So the senators would respond by saying, "You're not answering my question." She goes, "I'd rather answer a more interesting question." They're not hiding it. She's not hiding that she's not going to answer the question. Now, why wouldn't she? Because they live in a fantasy world. If they truly believe this, they live in a fantasy world. And some people might say, "Hey, Mark, why do you even care? Nobody watched it anyway." Well, because the truth matters. The truth matters. Them trying to say that a biological man can give birth is the equivalent of saying, or trying to convince us of that. Let's start there. Them trying to convince you that a biological man, whether they've transitioned or not, can give birth, get pregnant and give birth to a baby is like them trying to convince you that the world is flat. It's the exact same thing. It's never going to happen. It hasn't happened. Nothing in nature can do this if they are a male biologically. Nothing. So, looking at it from a political standpoint, it's because it's purely not science. This is all political. Most people aren't diving into this. They're not diving into this. Everything that they are saying is based on a fairy tale, when everything that most people are talking about is based on basic biology. So it's very interesting. It was a very interesting exchange. I'm not going to play it on the video and risk any kind of copyright because I want everybody to hear this. But go check it out and tell me what you think. Leave me a comment. But first, let's talk a little bit about Manscaped. Support for On the Range Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. They are the best, absolute best in below the waistline men's grooming. They sent us a couple of their performance packages, 4.0, nothing but impress Rick and I. And we don't get impressed easily. They got the lawnmower 4.0. It's got a ceramic blade. It's got a headlight. So you can do it in the dark if you want to, but it's waterproof, rechargeable, so you're not tied to an outlet anymore, guys. Easily travelable. They give you a bag with that performance package called the Shed. So now you got the lawnmower and the weed whacker in the shed. Very clever. But they are offering you this exclusive offer, and there's no reason why you shouldn't try it now, because I know you've been thinking about it, guys. If you go to manscaped.com and use our promo code, OTR20, you will save 20% on your total purchase and get free worldwide shipping. There's no reason why not to go out there and try it. Up your game. Your lady friends will like it. Your spouse will like it. Go ahead and take care of yourself and take advantage of this. It's a limited time offer. I don't know how long this is going to go. But go to manscaped.com and use the promo code OTR20. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you guys that was trending last couple of days, AOC. Maybe you've seen it. AOC's walking in to the Capitol, is getting heckled. It's obviously some kind of comedian or some kind of an influencer, but it's complete satire, parody. And, he's saying, hey, here comes my favorite big booty Latina. And it's clearly in jest. And she even reacts, gives a peace sign or something like that. And later, she starts talking about how she didn't feel safe. Talking about January 6th and all this other stuff. Didn't feel safe. Talking about how there was a cop with me. He didn't do anything. Now, there's a couple of things that just jump out at me. Number one, she was right up there on the defunding the police, and she's right up there with the criminal justice reform, public safety reform. Hates the police. Wants to get rid of it. Remember? Now she's upset that no one did anything to someone who wasn't breaking the law. It's amazing to watch, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. And people aren't dumb. They think about it. They're like, wait a minute, how hypocritical is that? Totally bashing law enforcement constantly, demoralizing them, trying to defund them, trying to get rid of them. And we've talked about that on OTR, Vantage Point. We talked to that on Words of Wisdom. We talked to that at length on the Range Podcast with Rick and I. Defunding the police is the single worst thing, policy, idea that they have ever come up with. It has caused fear, damage, and caused harm. Many people are dying because of this policy. They've got blood on their hands. So the hypocrisy is just right there in your face, and they don't even care. They want them to be safe. They want their security to have guns, but they don't want you to have guns. And they don't want to have police anymore, but they want to have police. And they want their police to be aggressive at stopping protests. Now, here's another thing, too. And this was just satire. This was for comedy for his social media page. Now, the other thing about this, too, AOC is one of the leading folks in Congress that was up there saying that these public officials, these justices, that they don't deserve privacy, that they give it up. That wherever they're at, wherever they work, wherever they live, if they're going to have dinner at Morton's, go scream at them, shut it down. But not to her. In a public place, no one around really, it wasn't hardly anybody in the background, and just one guy. See the hypocrisy, folks? Now listen. I believe that everybody should have the right to protest. I do. But I also believe, and this includes AOC, to her credit, and to be fair to her, that they should be able to not be harassed and targeted purely based on what they think politically. You want to go stand in a public place and protest, have at it. That's your right. And I will defend that right. But going to someone's house, specifically running up to one person and berating them and screaming at them, going to their home, going to a place, another third-party place of business, interrupting everybody else there, interrupting that business, inundating, Morton's Steakhouse with calls and reservations and going there and screaming while everybody's in there trying to enjoy their night. I don't believe in that. Everybody should have the right to their life despite their beliefs. But it's very hard for me to feel sympathy, even though I do believe that she should be able to have the same privacy as I believe those justices should have too. It's very hard for me to feel sorry for AOC when this guy, let's face it, was harmlessly heckling her. But if I have a hard time feeling sorry for her when she is the exact opposite when it comes to folks who don't say the same things or believe the same things that she does. Anyway, tell me what you think about this take, guys. I know it was a quick little show. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Again, make sure you go to kelleydefense.com, warhog.com. Check out that In Honor of Duco project. Check out our training calendars. Make sure you sign up for our emails and on our websites. We'll send you out newsletters. Make sure you go to OTR Training on Demand. At least check it out. There's a lot of good training tips on there. Do it at the comfort of your home. Stream or direct download and keep it forever. But at the very least, share, like, and subscribe to our channels. All these video and audio shows. Go out there and have a great week, guys. Thank you.